Hey, I'm Tom.
And I'm John.
And we're the co-founders of Handsome Frank Illustration Agency.
In this series, we'll be sitting down and talking to our illustrators, finding out more about them, their artistic process, and the creative industry we work in.
Welcome to our podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast. Today, we're in Paris.
And it's lovely. The sun's shining. We got a bit lost in Paris today, so remind us exactly where we are.
So we're in the 16th district, which is near Bois de Boulogne, on the west side of Paris.
Which, for those that don't know Paris, is very near the Eiffel Tower.
We are actually living quite in front of the Eiffel Tower, but the
Okay.
studio is 15 minutes away.
And this is a new studio, right?
This is a new studio. We've moved in 3 months ago, so it's just quite finished just for you guys.
I wrote a little, this is very professional of me. When I say I wrote, I stole it from your website, but a little introduction for people who don't know you. You can correct the facts and you can correct the pronunciation as we go along. But yeah, born in a small seaside village in the south of France, artist Agathe Singer now lives in Paris. Right so far?
It was not the south of France.
Oh.
Is it on the website?
I think so.
I have to correct it. I was born in Normandy.
You were born in Normandy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one wrong.
Yeah.
And she studied graphic arts at Duperrey
Duperrey.
and Penningham
Penningham.
before working as a graphic designer.
Yeah.
Over time, she developed a passion for gouache and began to paint, inspired by artists like Matisse, Rousseau and Frida Kahlo. And she was drawn to creating worlds of vibrant and imaginary flora.
Immature.
This is going well.
Yeah.
Themes of femininity, beauty and nature often dominate her bold, colourful work, making it the perfect fit for clients in the fashion, textile and interior design world. How's that?
Yeah. I think that's...
I should have read that before having a large beer in the sunshine, maybe.
It's the pronunciation as well. There's some tricky ones in there.
Yeah, Duperrey, Penningham, and what was the last one? Rousseau.
Well, as we've discussed, my French is far inferior to your English. But no, so you grew up in Normandy?
I was born in Normandy and I grew up there until I was 6, and then we moved to Bretagne, so a little bit south.
Okay.
And I've been there until I was 17 and moved to Paris to study art in Duperrey.
And you've been here ever since?
Yeah,
Wow,
didn't
okay.
move.
And
I tried.
was moving to Paris something that you always wanted to do when you were growing up?
Yeah, I think I was very happy with my parents, but I just wanted to be a grown-up
Yeah.
very early. I just wanted to go out of the house. And I arrived in Paris, and I was living in a very small bedroom in a, how do you say that, kind of a non-house for a student.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so with sisters and...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and other young ladies studying art just a little bit and medicine a lot. Yeah, we were the black sheep of the house.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and yeah, I studied for 5 years.
And what was it like growing up fairly rural by the beach, right? And then moving to Paris?
Yeah, I missed the sea a lot for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got
Used
caught
to.
up into the...
But you got the river.
The city. Yeah,
Not quite the same.
kind of bathing it. Yeah.
And the work that you were doing at university, was that similar to the work you're doing now?
No, not at all. The first school I went in, we studied graphic design, but with kind of a taste for experimenting around colors, around texture, painting and drawings. And then I went in a school where we studied art direction. So it was more about pictures, typography, and I did my major with a project that was without any pictures and I
Okay.
just type.
Oh, right. So properly sort of graphic design,
graphic
advertising.
design, yeah. But still, I really loved to draw.
Yeah.
But I kind of stopped for some years when I started to work as a graphic designer, which I was not really good at. And then I pick it up again, I think 12 years ago.
So that was just sort of a hobby on the side, doing the painting.
Yeah.
So how that transition from taking it to something that you enjoy to a career, would you say that's been easy, or has that been challenging, or?
I think it was a lot of work because I was employed. I had a day job, so I was graphic designer the day. I was trying to paint and to build a portfolio at night. So for 2 or 3 years, it was a lot of work on the side. And then I started to send my work to clients, to companies I wanted to work with. And I was lucky that the one I wanted to work with called me back, started to give me a first job, and then more and more. And at some point, the balance kind of changed, and I had enough work on the side to quit and to start being a full-time illustrator.
So who was that client? Who was the one you wanted?
It's called Fragonard, and it's a French perfume house that is quite old, from the south of France. And when I was still employed as a graphic designer, I had no idea that illustrator could really be a job. We had some illustration course at school, but I think I totally didn't get the point of it. I thought it was just drawing, but and once I went into one of their shop, and they had this collection of objects and home goods that was all illustrated.
Okay.
And it's really the first time that I was like, wow, you can do drawings and it's applied on products and clients want it, and it can be a job.
So what was it like handing in your job? You're handing in your notice for your job.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I did it twice in my life, and I think the 2 times was the best day. Yeah.
So are you from a creative background? Was the family creative when you were growing up, or?
Yeah, my parents were both self-employed, so that already was something for us to see that we could make our own jobs all the way we wanted, work from home, make also time for the family, or a bit in a different way than people who were employed.
So have you got siblings?
Yeah, I've got a brother and a sister.
Okay, and have they followed different paths, similar paths, or different paths?
My sister is a designer, so she's doing her own fashion brand, and she's also musical. I don't know how to say.
A musician?
Musician,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. And my brother is into computers.
Okay.
So
yeah,
different.
pretty, and all of you are kind of working for yourselves, essentially?
Yeah. Only my brother is now employed, but he's the head of his team. And he's
Okay. So there's definitely something that came.
Yeah,
from
from
that.
the parents. And my parents, when they met, they had a second-hand shop, but they were also like designing their own little collection in the shop. Then when I was a kid, my mother was doing children objects like magic lanterns. I don't know if you...
Yeah.
It's the light and the
Yeah.
illustration that was turning around. So that was my first job. I think I was 12, and I designed one of the of the lights. And she was always drawing, and I think the love of making things and drawing comes from that.
So they encouraged you very much to.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
still, they didn't have any idea of what kind of job opportunity it could be. So I discovered later at school and during the first jobs.
Okay, and your husband's creative too,
Yeah,
right?
Isn't
We're sat in your shared studio,
yeah.
and as well as being surrounded by amazing paintings, there's also photography here.
Yeah, he's an artist and he's doing photographs.
And he's gone out today to take photographs because we're here.
because the weather is amazing. And
We've stolen his chair.
yeah, because the studio is quite small, so I think it would have been packed for grown-ups.
And you've got 2 daughters yourself,
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see whether they go down the creative path or whether they're completely.
yeah, we'll
Change.
see. At the moment, the bigger one, she loves to like do little stuff, draw and build stuff. But I'm glad that the studio is out of the house, because it was kind of a problem that she wanted to like play with my things first, and also it was always a fight that when we start drawing together, she wanted to do like I was doing and not her own stuff, which is not that fun.
Do you do painting with her?
I did it in the beginning, and it was always like a conflict at the end. So now
I think
take a little break.
painting with children is one of those things. It sounds like a great idea,
and
but just ends up being You just spent hours tidying up afterwards.
Yeah, actually, yesterday I came home. She was with our babysitter, and after she left, found these towels full of blue paint. And I was like, what did you do? And she's like, we had this idea, but then we made a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so when we do these podcasts, we always ask people on social media if they have a question. And one of the questions that came in from Fran Lavichard was, do you find it difficult juggling motherhood and creativity? So maybe that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult to have kids when you have a job that takes a lot of time or self-employed. I think with my first one, it was a bit complicated because I totally changed my illustration style. I was doing a totally new job when she came, and I was very focused on the paintings I wanted to produce and the new ideas that I had, and I found it hard juggling between the new baby and being parent for the first time, and being so motivated by the job I was doing and also the new opportunities that was coming in, and so it was a lot of work, and I don't know, maybe not that well balanced with the...
You mentioned before about when you were working from home, you'd often look up and see the kids' toys, or there'd be a job that needed doing. Was that the catalyst between thinking, we need a studio, we need to kind of move out and have a separate space?
We decided to move out with the birth of our second kid, because our flat is not that big. We already were totally packed with the job and the babies, and but I think before the problem was also that every time I had some spare moments, I was working because the job was there. So insomnia, when the babies wake up at night and you cannot go back to sleep, I was thinking like, I have this I have to do, and I was back at the desk, and it was taking too much space in the, I don't know.
So everything is out of the house now?
Everything is out of the house
so you
now.
can't paint?
No, I can't. It's really like that. I can't. So during the weekend, it's a total break. If I don't check my emails.
I think that's got to be a very healthy way to look at it, though.
I think it's better.
Yeah, you need that mental separation.
Yeah, but I think also because I'm not anymore in that process when you are starting something new and you really feel that you have to do it. I think for the birth of Paula, it was like that. I was like, I have to try this new stuff that I have in my mind. I need to paint, and now I'm a bit more settled. I know what I like to do, and I want to take some time with the kids. I want to also have a real separation between work and life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's important.
So in terms of your process, obviously it's painted, but we've got kind of so in the studio here we have a table with all the paints and the colour charts on the wall, but we've also got your very large shiny what is it, a Microsoft Surface?
A Surface, yeah.
So you also create work digitally as well?
Yeah, not that much, but I also have a lot of time spent cleaning the painted work. So I have to scan, I have to clean.
So retouching.
Yeah, and also I do prints, Riso prints. So it means I have to work a lot on the computer to separate the colors and to prepare the prints. So still have...
Yes, but in terms of creating that work digitally, is that something that you've kind of reluctantly stepped into? Like, do you still enjoy creating work digitally, or?
I enjoy doing it, but I still like that it's a small part of my job.
Yeah.
As a graphic designer, I was working only on computer, and this is something I didn't want to do anymore. And I'm happy that I still have a handmade process.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I've said it on other podcasts, but I think clients really, really appreciate that still. And like looking at the originals that we've got here, even though there's sort of very small, marks and textures that you get in the paint, which I do think you lose in the scanning process. Like nothing beats an original. But I think it's really good that you've got both techniques that you can use. And I know, like working with you on some projects when they want, for example, vector work or they need more layers, it's good that you have that ability to create digital work. And then on other projects, it's great that you can do the painted as well.
Yeah, I know for client work I do it gladly, but for personal stuff it's more difficult. I think it gives me too much opportunity to try too many colors, to make too many amends. And when I do the painting, it's kind of, you also have the surprise of I make this stain or I the shape is not as I wanted in the beginning, but I like that kind of.
There's the permanence of the decision.
Yeah.
There's no going back.
Yeah.
How do you go about choosing your colour palettes?
I do it before I start even drawing. I think I have it in my mind. As I said, I'm doing a lot of printing on the side, and it's always limited color techniques.
Yeah.
So I can have this mindset that I like to work with very few colors. Also, I like to kind of simplify the drawing, so having less colors helps with the process. So I pick before I put the little color tubes side to side and see what I like.
Yeah, no, there's some really, really nice colour palettes. Just looking on the walls, they're really, really nice, really striking. It's the similar things that you see in sort of in clothing, interior design, lots of sort of similar fields. But I think you've got a very, very good use of colour, which probably comes from your graphic design background as well.
I don't know, because in the beginning when I started doing illustration, I was only doing black and white. I was so afraid of using color. Also in the beginning I was painting with watercolor, which is less. You don't really pick a color; it has full of nuances, and it's much more mixed. And when I started working with gouache, I also felt the shift, that the colors were stronger, and that it was a real choice and not only, I don't know. That the shapes, the colors was part of the artwork.
Do you remember the first time you used gouache? Was it like an instant love?
No, I remember the first time. It was a mess. It's so hard in the beginning to master the texture and how much water you add and everything. So I still have them, I think, and it's very messy, very clumsy.
So it's about perseverance.
Yeah, I think on this medium it's perfect. Perseverance, a lot of it. Yeah. Also to get the perfect movement, that the shapes are really smooth, and
I think that's sort of one of the key things is the perfection of your line detail.
Yeah.
It's got that bold graphical feel to it again. To be able to paint that perfectly must take quite a lot of hours to practice.
Yeah. And again, very clumsy in the beginning.
And in terms of, like, we talked in that introduction a little bit about some of the themes in your work, but predominantly you seem to be drawn to drawing women, the natural world, flowers, plants, animals. What is it about those subject matters that makes you keep coming back?
I think flowers and animal, they were the first subject I was drawn to quite naturally. Maybe because I was living in the city, I don't know, I needed the green, I needed the flowers, I needed to see the garden that I didn't have. And I think for the women figures, it was more coming from conversation we had together, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say, so before we started working together, I think we'd had discussions for quite a while, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you, right, you need to draw, I don't know, was it more a variety of people?
Yeah, I think people.
Yeah.
It wasn't drawing
different
people
landscapes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, we were talking about speaking to students, illustration students. It's very, very easy, I think, at any point in your career, just to get used to drawing the same thing. And you kind of get into that groove and that comfort zone, you know what works. So you've got to kind of constantly push yourself and try different things.
Try new things, yeah.
Have you ever painted anything and it just hasn't worked at all?
Yeah, I think interiors. I totally have to work on that. It's, again, very clumsy.
Yeah.
Painting guys, I'm not that used to it, so I started.
Yeah, it's harder. They've got.
Harder.
I always think, because a lot of when people illustrate women, part of what makes it look really cool is the clothing they're wearing.
Yeah.
And men's fashion is just not as interesting.
I mentioned for my shirt.
Yeah, you have a beautiful shirt, and it would be terrific on the painting.
For the sake of the podcast, I'm wearing today a blue shirt with pink spots, which I think would look good in one of your paintings.
Yeah, I think so. Let's take a picture.
There's some of our illustrators. I'm not going to name his name. He'll know who he is. But he does amazing illustrations, but there's no facial features. And he said, I don't do them because they're really hard.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes it is okay just to say, right, that's not in my remit, and I'm going to just kind of work around it.
also, I think it's it can be an asset that you know your weakness,
Yeah.
and then you also build other strengths to.
You find a solution.
To avoid, you find solutions.
Yeah, you find a solution, you work around it. Yeah.
And also on the subject matter, I find it very interesting. I know that whenever you go on holiday, I start seeing slightly different subject matter. I think you're very influenced by the environment that you surround yourself by.
Yeah, and also when I go on holiday, I think, so we go to my in-laws and they take care of the kids. So suddenly I have this time to focus a bit on trying new stuff. And, which is nice.
You should just go travelling more.
Yeah.
Do you own a cat? Do you have a cat?
No.
Because you draw cats a lot.
Yeah.
Is that why you draw them?
I just answered the wildest magazine questions about pet animals. And no, I used to have cats when we were kids in the garden. There were cats everywhere. So
that's another childhood throwback.
Yeah,
and also bigger cats, like you draw panthers and tigers.
This is from, I think, Rousseau, the painter we were talking about before, that I loved since I was a kid. I think I have at home a little drawing that is quite like the jungle with the black panther that's behind it on, and it's a black cat. It's very childish but cute. I have to find it sometime. And for the cats, it's such a familiar figure for me, even if I don't have cats in Paris.
And they animate beautifully as well, as we did a little animation project together.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about what your typical day is, because we've talked about the fact that you live in a different part of Paris, you've got the studio here. Can you talk us through like a typical day in the life, what your 9 to 5 is like?
Yeah, so I have a young baby. She's not a year old. So since a year it has quite changed. We are very busy with the kids. So in the morning we wake everyone up, or we are waking up at 7. Prepare for school, bring the kids, and now drive to work, which is very new for us and very nice. I love now going outside of the house and also having a place just for us with my husband. And I guess like everyone, take a look at the mails and try to make a plan for the day. So I have sketches to do for new projects. I have painting to finish for others that are more advanced, and
Do you separate? Do you kind of have email time and work time, or do you look at emails as they come in?
Yeah, I'm totally not organized. Especially.
Well, you say that, but there's a weekly planner here in front of me.
Yeah, and I also said I did almost nothing on the planner, so
we did use it as a coaster for the coffee.
I'm trying to improve, but it's not yet there. I also have this. Like, I tried different solutions. I tried to have it on my phone. I tried to have it on paper.
But I think you're someone, you always seem to be someone responds pretty quickly to emails, and you seem to,
Yeah. Maybe it's just the feeling that I have now. The past week I've been a bit lost, I don't know, in work and everything. But yeah, I try to make the best out of the time that I have left now, because the days are very short.
Yeah, so when is pick up? When is the working day?
Pick up is at 4 in the afternoon. So.
And that's the end of your working day then, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I have to be more. Yeah. I have to be faster.
More efficient.
More efficient. But being outside of the house helps, because I'm not drawn to, I don't know. Yeah, like we said, clean something or.
Is there? Have you had any sort of tight deadlines where you've had to come back here in the evening to finish stuff off?
On the weekend a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But not too much.
Yeah.
I also have how do you say? A portable.
Tablet.
Laptop.
Okay.
That I bring home.
And are you? I mean, you talked a bit about the fact you would really drawn to move to Paris. Are you committed? Are you staying in Paris? You love being here?
Yeah, I love being here. I tried to move out of Paris, but my husband is Austrian and he loves the city. He has been here less than me. He wants to stay, so every time I tried to take him to Vienna or to the south of France. Until yet, we haven't found a place that we like as much as Paris.
Well, you're in good. I think we have 5 illustrators currently in Paris.
Yeah.
So you're in good company.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see some of them tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because obviously a lot of the projects that we work on are with UK or US clients. but you're working in France as well. Do you notice any differences between French clients and clients elsewhere in the world?
I know there are differences, but it's hard to explain. I think the French market for illustration or the request, there are very few compared to the rest of the world. I think countries like England, you have a taste and an eye for illustration, and it comes more often. I think that clients want illustration instead of photography or graphic design. So I have really fewer clients that are French compared to the rest of the...
And one thing that some of the other French artists have said to me is, and this might not be your experience, but they've said that some French clients could be a lot more prescriptive. So they have an idea, they have the concept, they know exactly what they want, and they're asking you to just kind of bring their idea to life. Whereas perhaps clients in the UK or the US are a little bit more wanting your ideas and your input as well. Have you found that?
No, not really. I thought also that clients from the US, for example, they can be very prescriptive in what they want. Or sometimes they'll ask you to give ideas, but then come back with very precise requests.
And what's your preference? How do you prefer to work?
I like the variety. I like that some clients want you to be totally free, and then you have to propose something from your own. And I also like to follow clients' inputs. I like that no project is like the other. And
I think one having worked with you, one area that you're really good at is composition. And kind of, and a client will give you a size that you need to work to, and then you can kind of build your ideas into that composition. And
yeah, it's true. It's something that I like. It's like a bit like picking less colors. It's a frame that you have to work in or around. Something Also, when I had that once with a French client that they wanted to use a composition, but in several different formats, and it had to work vertical, horizontal, and everything. So you build a story that can be read in different ways, and this is something that I like to do.
Yeah, I think that's become a lot more prevalent past couple of years. It's clients they want you to create an artwork that they can use everywhere. And there's so many different formats now.
Especially with the internet, Instagram or stuff, exactly. You go from square to stories.
So I think it's a really important skill to learn. Creating an artwork that can be cropped in various different ways and thinking about how that's going to work in different formats. That's certainly become more important. I read in an interview that when you're not feeling creative, you just stop and take a break.
Yeah, and I read some days ago that Luis Mendoza said you have to work.
So you have different approaches.
And I was like, I do the opposite. I try not to go further into the block because I think it can be very scary to be at your desk and thinking I have no idea or I cannot work. So I just kind of accept that it's not the time for me to work, and I just totally do something.
So what will you do? Go for a walk or
go for a walk? Decide that this will be a holiday week. I don't know. I came back. It was last month with absolutely no idea or no envy to paint or to draw anything, and I thought, this is gonna be the week when I clean the house, and it was good.
I think that's good that you can recognize that, but also not get stressed out about it.
Yeah, I think. Some years before I would have been stressed by a lot of stuff, and now I'm kind of more relaxed, trying to think that it will work out eventually. And so I try to bore myself until I feel that I want to work again.
That's interesting. Okay. So bore yourself into creative submission. I always think that with children, sometimes I look at my kids and on a car journey they have an iPad or a phone and just think, they've lost that boredom factor, and being bored leads to creativity. I think that's something my parents told us very early, that it's good to be bored because somehow you will come with something to do, some idea, and I try to keep that in my life. That's interesting. Because I guess some people would go out and try and stimulate themselves and look for it and search for it. Yeah, I also remember when I tried to find my illustration style, because it was not that easy in the beginning. You just start from scratch and
I like to draw, but I can be drawing anything or in any way, and how to really find what will be your voice in a way. And I had friends who were like, look at this and look at that on Instagram or Illustrators, and I realized that didn't help me. I needed to shut myself off everything and kind of try to do something only from myself. And and I see if I have a creative block, I also need to find that again, not looking at anything and just
do you
blank.
Do you look at other artists? I mean, even when you're feeling inspired, do you look at other artists? Are you big into looking at social media, or are you someone that just posts and leaves it?
No, I'm looking a lot. I think I spend too much time. Also because in the beginning I met so many great illustrators, met friendships through Instagram. And it's such a nice community.
Yeah. Also
to exchange around problems and
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a lovely community to work in.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who are very open and honest and sharing.
And welcoming also, because in the beginning I had no community. I was only trying to show stuff that I was doing. And everyone was so nice and friendly. It's not like, everyone is ready to make space for new artists.
Yeah, I've always found it very welcoming. What's been your favourite project today? What's the one that really stands out?
That's hard to say. I have a lot of projects that I liked. I think maybe the more personal projects, like the rug we made with Macarena, for example.
So there's a beautiful rug here in the studio, and it's a bit of Handsome Frank link. So it's by...
so it's Macarena.
Macarena, so exactly. Who's Seb Curie's partner, who have a studio together in LA.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed seeing your illustrations sort of being used in different formats and mediums?
Yeah. I love when it's used on home goods, and I see I have messages from people like, got this tray in my home and I love it, or this and that. It's something I got from the first job that I had with Fragonard, because we were creating collections and it was really made for people to bring them into their house, and I like that it's something that will stay. And
we did a set of water bottles, didn't we? I forgot the name of the company. What were they called? Chili's, yes, sorry, Chili's.
The cat and the flowers. Yeah.
When we got sent those, my daughters kind of ambushed me and stole them. They were like, we're having them.
I got one stole also from my daughter. Yeah.
I think your work really does work very well when it's applied to products. I know you did the t-shirts and the clothing with WWF, and got the advent calendars up there. It looks, there's something about your style when it's applied to an object. It really kind of pops. Yeah. And it must be nice to have physical things in the world as well that you've worked on.
Yeah. Especially when there's chocolate in it.
Yeah, that's always always an advantage. Yeah, and moving on from favourite projects, biggest mistake. Like, is there anything you have done or anything you've really learned from that you look back on and think?
Yeah, I think I took once a project. It was the first time I was not represented, and I was working for an American company that was, how was it called? Was helping people building companies and hiring and stuff. And it was very
recruitment.
Recruitment and all sorry, I'm losing my words. How to manage a company, so accounting, business and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they asked me very specific illustration with people doing stuff, and maybe I would say a bit editorial. So it was supposed to represent very specific situation into characters and stuff like that. And I was terrible at drawing characters. I was terrible at synthesizing ideas into scenes. And I hope they were still happy. They used it at the end, but I was not comfortable. They asked me to use colors that they picked, and I think also, color palette is part of my work, and if I'm not a little bit free around it, I'm not comfortable at all with the final result. So I think that was a job I thought, okay, I'm happy I tried.
Yeah.
But also to learn to see that a brief is not for me.
I think that's a really good point. I think sometimes just because you're offered a project doesn't mean it's the right project for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to make that judgment yourself.
Yeah, but I think you can also only learn by those types of mistakes
Yeah.
by actually doing it, learning the
Yeah.
hard way.
And also sometimes you take a project that maybe you're not that comfortable with, and it turned out great, and you learn something, and you improve. So, yeah, sometimes it's just a question of luck, maybe.
Yeah, I always think that good art direction is when an art director sees something or asks you to do something that perhaps you haven't done before, they do push you into a new space.
Mm.
But I guess on the flip side, you're the judge of what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And where that can go. So I wondered if you would offer any advice to aspiring illustrators. I mean, obviously you've had a bit of a journey. You started out in graphic design, and then you took a while to find your style, and then to find gouache. What advice would you offer to somebody who wants to be an illustrator but hasn't yet hit upon that look and feel?
I think what helped me was really to take the time to try different things and to really find a way to work that I enjoy, because I think it's important. You have to feel comfortable with what you do, so you can experiment more, so you can work more. So I don't know if it's an advice, but practice a lot, build a portfolio that is that you feel looks like you, or and
do you think it's important to be authentic?
Yeah, definitely. I see a lot of young illustrators that are searching themselves and copy works of others, for example. And this is, I think this is a mistake I did in the beginning, because like what I said, when you are not sure of what you're doing, sometimes you see something that you like and it's not even copying, it just comes out in your work. So trying to focus on what really comes from yourself, your inspiration, where did you get your ideas from, what are the subjects you're drawn to and why, and try to really explore that inspiration that comes from yourself and not from stuff that you saw on.
Yeah, again, it's so hard because there's so much work out there now. We're seeing so much work.
Yeah, and I know it's very easy in the beginning because there are so many beautiful things out there, and I remember sometime I wanted to do characters like this illustrator that I love, and even if you don't want to copy, there are some stuff that comes out in your work. So yeah, I know that what worked for me, like I said, was to totally shut down from the...
Stop looking.
Yeah, stop looking.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take longer to kind of find your own voice doing it that way, but it's way more important to do that rather than just copy other people.
Yeah.
I had another question for social media. This is from fellow handsome Frank artist Paul Thirlby, who says, Bonjour. What scanner do you use to transfer your paintings to a computer?
Oh, I use it's named Epson Photo Pro something.
It's up there on the shelf. And we were talking earlier because we were saying that even with a really, really good scanner, you do lose a little bit of texture, but then you were saying dust is an issue.
Yeah, I think with this one, I think I got everything, including the dust. So that's why sometimes by cleaning the painting, you lose a little bit of the texture. And I think sometimes also maybe I'm cleaning too much. And
when you say cleaning, you're talking about digital retouching?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what software are you using to do that?
Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that, how big a part of the job is that?
I think it can take as long as doing the painting itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But maybe I'm really like 300%. I'm looking into it, trying to clean everything. Because sometimes I work quite small. I work A4 size or letter size. And then when it's used for a meter large, I have to look really into the details.
Can I give you my really nerdy reason as to why scanners lose that detail that I was talking about? So when you hold a painting, the light is coming from different... if you're standing next to a window holding the painting, the light's coming in from the side.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the tiny little shadows that those bumps from the paint create.
Yeah, okay.
When you scan something, the light is coming direct and you lose all those shadows.
Okay, you're talking... Yeah, okay, I see. You mean the
surface texture.
The surface texture.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were you meant colors, nuances.
I think even that as well.
But also
slightly
and the
lost.
painting is more heavy.
Because there's a lot of painters, I think, larger scale. They actually have their work photographed rather than scanned.
Oh.
That's maybe something else you could try.
Yeah. Should I smart it?
Exactly.
Pictures.
Give your husband a job.
One of our other artists, Sarah Maycock, who also paints, said that she always leaves a couple of mistakes or a couple of like rogue brush strokes at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because clients want to give feedback. Yeah, they'll always have feedback. So she leaves them in on purpose.
So she can.
So that the feedback will be,
yeah.
can you take those out? So that's another
I
thing.
should try.
You should
paints. Yeah.
Maybe spend just leave it a couple of blips, and maybe that's the feedback for you.
Well, she says that sometimes the client asks to take them out, and sometimes she's had clients ask to add more in.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's actually that character that they like.
But I think I hadn't had too much problem with that, because I always send this kind of flat digital sketch with the colors, and then there is this gap with the painting, and it's so much more details than what they expected.
Yeah.
So what is your process? So when you send an initial draft, is that just we can see some pencil sketches on the wall here. Is that a classic draft, or are you sending colour at the first?
This is really for myself. Sometimes I do just quick sketches before I start doing the drawing for the painting. But for clients, I would start digital sketches usually, because it's easier to amend and correct. And then one step with colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're creating the digital sketch in
Photoshop also.
Again,
Yeah.
Okay. And then once they've approved that, then you'll go to
the painting.
To paint.
Yeah. And then there's still some, you can change the colors a little bit, but usually it's going quite fast.
Yeah, once they're committed, that's the decision is made once the paints are out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do
I try
have to
the
flag
sketch
that.
is really.
Yeah, we do sort of say, just so you know.
It will be.
Once you've approved this.
Yeah, it will be more complicated. It's also very complicated when the client asks me to do a painting, but to use it on layers.
Yeah.
Because then I have to separate everything and to paint everything completed.
Oh, okay, so you're actually painting layers effectively.
Have you got a light box for that?
No.
You should get one.
Really?
Yeah. So you do one layer.
Ah, sorry. I thought you meant light box on the computer.
No,
a light box
physical...
I have, but I don't like to use it. I don't know. It's too. Yeah. No, I do it.
Yeah.
I just like if the leopard is behind leaves, I paint it full. Then I add the leaves, and it's very long. Yeah.
How much do you think you spend on paints?
I think for this painting I did a naked girl background, so it's quite simple. It took me like 2 hours to paint.
Yeah.
It will definitely be 3 or 4 to clean it.
To clean it up.
Yeah.
And do you have a particular favourite brand of gouache?
I work with the Holbein acrylic gouache. I was working with gouache before, which is only water-based and quite transparent. But if you add water again, you will have a mess. And with acrylic, you can add up layers, and they won't.
And build it.
Yeah.
And do you have a particular paper that you use?
I have watercolor paper.
Okay. Is there like a particular thickness that you like?
300 grams, and I use only the hot pressed, so you don't have the paper texture.
Okay,
because this is the problem on the scan. I was working in the beginning with those classic watercolors with the grain, and then you scan it, and then you have to retouch the grain, which is
so then you have to take it out
a nightmare. Yeah, because I don't like to have it in there.
And is there I'm picturing a beautiful art shop in a little alleyway in Paris that you ride to on your bike to buy your paints.
And I don't go there. I bought my.
Do you
my
buy
table.
them online?
No. I bought the table on a beautiful classic Parisian art shop, and it's handmade and everything. But then I go only in Austria.
Oh right.
Yeah, in Linz there's this huge art shop, and I go there twice a year. do the shopping for.
Yeah,
for 6
there was a
months.
few very well known ones in London, in Soho, and they've all. Well, no, there's one still there, isn't there? But
There's Casa Art, isn't there, in London?
yeah, but a lot of the others a lot of the smaller ones have disappeared in London now,
Yeah,
which is a
it's
shame.
all on the internet. Yeah.
And you've got two. So just to describe your space here, you've got two very separate desks.
Yeah, I like it this way because I'm can be a bit messy when I paint, so I don't want the color on
And
the
that's
computer.
slightly lower, right? That
Yeah, and also it's very small because it was before in the flat and we had no space. So one day when we have a bigger place, I hope I will have
bit more
a
room.
real big table to paint. So that's why also I work small formats.
So the painting that's out there now, that's A3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
the maximum I'm doing usually. Also because it's easier to scan.
Okay.
But I will try taking pictures. But now we have our own space. I'm trying to put some paper on the wall and
Yeah, so
try
there's-
bigger formats.
There's a
Yeah.
large format. I mean, how big is that?
A2?
That's huge.
No, A1.
No, it's I think A1. How do you call it? Half eagle or
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Jesus?
I'm not
names.
sure. I only know my A sizes.
Yeah,
So next time we come back, we can expect the walls to be
yeah, full of.
covered.
No, I don't think so. But it was so nice. Like I said, not being home anymore because this I wouldn't have put on the wall at home because for sure.
Your kids would destroy it.
Yeah, or try to paint the side.
Yeah.
So now I can leave it there. It's
And
nice.
this is self-initiated.
Yeah,
And what percentage of your work is there?
self-initiated.
Yeah, compared to a client.
Quite a lot because for quite a time I didn't have clients, so I
So
was
you're drawing what you liked.
painting what I loved, and then I started to sell it through illustration gallery on my own web shop, and then to license it for home goods. So I think it's more than a half. Yeah, more than a half is self-initiated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're still selling lots of prints. That's part of your income as well.
Yeah, prints and like I said, I have license for a French editor, which is producing objects in Europe, very beautiful trays and
Okay, so
cushions,
homeware.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely.
Where would you
Yeah.
love to see your illustrations that they're not currently being used? Like, what's your sort of dream project?
I thought about it and I don't have an answer yet. I think I would love to do something maybe for food. I know we just did one, but maybe more like when you go to Marks and Spencer and there's
Yeah.
this amazing collection of tea boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, I would love to do
We've
that.
done a couple of Marks and Spencer's shortbread tins in the past.
Yeah,
And the Harrods, what was it? It was a musical box biscuit tin. Very good.
nice.
Well, I think that is all of my questions. The only question I have left is me and Tom now have 24 hours in Paris. What should we do?
You're asking a person that doesn't go out anymore.
Oh dear.
I go to bed at 8 and pray that nobody will wake me up at night. I don't know. Plus the COVID, everything was shut.
Yeah,
down,
it still seems
so-
very... There seems to be a lot more masks here than in London. People are still
Really?
quite...
You're
Yeah.
still wearing it.
They're still
That's
mandatory
bad.
on transport.
Yeah,
as
on
I was told this
transport.
morning.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
You forgot your mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If I could, I would go back to Canal Saint-Martin.
Okay, so...
Yeah, which is really nice. You have a lot of restaurants and
Oh,
bars.
that's near Jean Julien's studio, isn't it? The canal.
In the 10th
On
district.
north
In the
east.
10th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
northeast. This is a lovely place.
And what's your favourite gallery in Paris?
Illustration or art? in
Anything.
general? There's one I love in the 9th district, and it's called. I haven't been there for a while. I have to look it up.
Okay.
Tell you later. Sorry.
We can put it in the
Yeah,
description of the podcast.
Fill it in.
Yeah.
Fill in your cultural guide. Well, thank you very much for giving us some time today and for inviting us to your lovely studio.
Thank you for coming, Paris. First
No
time
problem.
we finally met.
Yeah, I
In
know.
person.
It's a good excuse to have a trip to Paris.
Yeah.
And come find us in London sometime.
Yeah. Can't wait. I have my passport now.
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.